Today we are starting this video out in Brewton, Alabama, just as we were yesterday. There's like this massive glare that's super wild. So firstly, let me just quickly touch on it and we'll come back to it. But this video today was not like this huge story in the news, and it happened many years ago. I mean, we're talking 50, 60 years ago now. There wasn't a lot of media attention towards it. So with that said, there's not a lot of pictures out there or news stories. It was made into a couple of books, but that just talks about the story. There's not a lot of visual aids in those books. And there's not a lot of visual aids out there, period. So this is going to be edited a lot different than some of my other videos where I put in those pictures or news clips and those type things. I don't have those here. All I have is the locations and the story itself. We will just have to make do. With that said, today in this video, we are going to be telling the story of the murder of Annie Jean Barnes here in Brewton, Alabama. It's a tragic story. The things that they did to her were just horrible. Yeah. First off, let me say, I have no pictures of Annie Jean Barnes or anyone else involved in this story. So I'm going to be lacking in those visual aids. Now, I'll do my best here to try to make this interesting to make up for those missing visual components, but I can't find any pictures of Annie or anything else. But the story is crazy and it needs to be, told. So I'll make the best of the situation. I'm gonna try. Annie Jean Barnes was the mother of 7 children. She and her children lived right here in Brewton, Alabama, their entire lives. Annie had befriended quite a few prominent people around Brewton, like council members, doctors, lawyers. But at the same time, Annie, she was addicted to pain medicine. More specifically, she was hooked on Demerol. So Annie used her friendships with doctors and pharmacists here in Brewton to get her Demerol. So one day in September of 1966, out of nowhere, Annie was invited out to it's a hunting camp. It's no longer standing, but it was a hunting camp called Doe Run Hunting Club. And it is where every high profile person in the city of Brewton went to do some hunting and, just have a good time. Well, Annie couldn't believe it. She could not believe that they were inviting her to this function. In her head, she assumed that she had made friends with the right people. And she did know quite a few of the people that were going to be there. But like I said, it's high profile people. It's doctors, lawyers, the people Annie was becoming friends with. But she was ecstatic because the people that she didn't know were going to be there, and she would have the opportunity to talk to them. She really had no idea what to expect, but she knew it could possibly open some doors for her. If you watched my video yesterday on the haunting of Murder Creek, then the Doe Run Hunting Club also set on Murder Creek. It's right up next to Murder Creek, just right outside of Brewton. This is Murder Creek right here. So Annie packs her a bag and she heads out to the hunting camp to spend the weekend. Her family was sitting at home waiting to hear the good news, how much fun she had, what kind of trip it was for her. All of a sudden, later on that evening, the telephone rings. It is Annie Jean Barnes calling, crying. They can barely understand what she's saying. She's asking for help. She needs someone to come get her. Her family arrives at the Doe Run hunting club only to find the absolute worst imaginable scene they could ever think of. Annie had been beaten. She had cuts and slashes and stabs all over her body. There were burn marks all over her, as if someone or some people had been putting out their cigarettes on her skin. She was tortured. The poor woman had been brutalized. Her family loads her up and rushes her here to this hospital in Brewton, McMillan Memorial. She is treated for her injuries and she is put into a coma while she heals. It's quickly realized she wasn't invited there to mingle with the other high-profile people at the country club. She was brought there as a form of entertainment to them. I mean, this is straight up out of the Roman Empire. They brought her there, more seemingly tied her up or something, and then beat her, cut her, burned her. Oh, just the most horrific stuff you could imagine. I mean, it's completely apparent that the whole weekend was a ruse just to torture her. After doing the toxicology reports, they find that there is very little Demerol in her system, even though she was an addict. Not only was she tortured, but these people that are there who know she's addicted to this Demerol, she gets it from them. They deprived her of it. So this whole time she's being tortured, she's also probably withdrawing from not having the pain medicine that she needs. And then she's tied up or chained up, having to go through withdrawals at the same time. It had to be the absolute worst weekend imaginable for Annie Barnes. Annie Barnes stayed in a coma in McMillan Hospital for a week, clinging to life, before her body finally gave up and she passed away. She died from the injuries that she suffered throughout her weekend at the hunting camp. Police came and took everyone's statements, but right after, for an unknown reason, the investigation into what happened was shut down by somebody high up, someone. No one knows who shut it down. It didn't take long to figure out that the whole thing was being swept under the rug. I mean, after all, the most powerful people in Brewton, Alabama were in attendance. They were at the hunting club for whatever happened to Annie Barnes. The people who would have been there were the people who could have gotten justice for her. It didn't matter what Annie's family did, or her friends, or even the community, the city of Brewton, the people of Brewton. It didn't matter what they did. They could never get Annie's case reopened again. And to this day, it still has not been. What is believed to have happened is just like I explained it, that she was lured there in an attempt to abuse her, to possibly even kill her. It's horrific. Now, Camp Doe Run, the hunting camp, was destroyed sometime in the 80s by a tornado, so it is no longer standing. It has now all been overgrown with trees and wildlife. Annie's family they all still live around Brewton, from what I can tell, and they all still do everything they can to try to get her death investigated. Because of it being swept under the rug, not many people know about Annie Barnes and what happened to her. There has been 2 books written about what happened to Annie Jean Barnes. One was called In the Temple of Trees, and the other was called Murder Creek, the unfortunate incident that befell Annie Jean Barnes. Even still, with 2 books published on her story, it has still yet to ever be investigated by law enforcement. Her family has still been demanding answers. They have still been so mad that they can't get answers that they continuously fight with city government with no hope of getting justice for Annie. It's a horrible story. And one can assume the reason they befriended her in the first place was just for the events that took place at the hunting camp, which would also lead you to assume that Annie Jean Barnes is not the only victim of this, whatever they do there. But this happened in 1966. We are in 2021, and there's been nothing. No active, open investigation, no arrest, no indictments, and no justice. My thoughts and prayers are with the Barnes family, because I can only imagine how difficult it must be to not only have a loved one be tortured like that, but to then have a town, a city, not allow her to get justice. It's very sad and emotional, and man, I hate it. I really do. Which is why I came to tell the story today. It needs to get out there to more people, so maybe one day she can get justice. Well, that is it for the story of Annie Jean Barnes, or the death of Annie Jean, or the torture of Annie Jean Barnes, really, at the hands of some wealthy and powerful men who obviously feel like they're above the law. I want to thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. If you're new here, go down and hit that subscribe button, then hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. If you want to help support the channel, check out the links in the description box below. Thank you all. I will see you again tomorrow. Please stay safe and stay healthy. Much love to you all.